We often see through the lens of international media North Korean soldiers marching, a seemingly endless display of synchronized movement and unwavering resolve, in perfect formation, a symbol of national strength and unity, meticulously crafted for the world stage. Stern, disciplined, and loyal. Their faces, often unreadable, project an image of unwavering commitment to the regime. But behind the parades, behind the carefully constructed facade, lies a hidden reality, a stark contrast to the polished image presented to the outside world. These are young men, barely out of their teens, and women facing years of mandatory service. Individuals trapped, caught in the gears of a system in a system, a rigid structure that shapes their lives from dawn till dusk. That demands everything, their youth, their energy, their very identities, and gives little in return. Basic necessities are often scarce and opportunities are limited. Their daily lives, a monotonous cycle of drills and duties, are marked by hardship, by the constant struggle for survival in often brutal conditions. Fear, the ever-present shadow of potential punishment and indoctrination, the relentless reinforcement of state ideology far removed from, a world away from, the heroic image, the glorified portrayal of military life shown to the world, a carefully curated narrative designed to inspire awe and obedience. Today we look past, we delve deeper than the propaganda, the carefully constructed illusion, to understand, to truly grasp, the true cost, the human toll of service, of dedicating one's life, often unwillingly, in the Korean People's Army. We seek to understand the reality behind the rhetoric. What does it mean? What is it truly like to be a soldier here, to live under these conditions, not on parade, not under the watchful eyes of superiors, but in the quiet, in the moments of solitude and reflection, desperate hours when the weight of their circumstances becomes unbearable, of daily life? What are the unspoken truths? Defectors and analysts, those who have escaped or studied the system, reveal a world, a reality, of malnutrition, of chronic food shortages and inadequate rations, grueling labor, of being forced to work on construction projects and farms, and psychological control. A world where independent thought is suppressed. Most soldiers, the vast majority, are teenagers, young and impressionable, conscripted into a life, a system, that tests their limits, pushing them to the brink of physical and emotional exhaustion, and erases their dreams, their hopes for the future, often sacrificed for the sake of the state. Their stories, the accounts of those who have managed to escape, challenge our perceptions, forcing us to question what we think we know, and reveal and lay bare the human cost, the devastating impact behind the headlines, the personal tragedies hidden from view. This is more than military analysis. It's not simply about troop numbers and weaponry, it's a rare look, an unprecedented glimpse, at the lives of people, of individuals, whose voices are almost never heard, whose stories deserve to be told. Before we continue, please consider supporting our work by subscribing and sharing this video. Your support helps us uncover and share stories that rarely reach the outside world. Every like and share amplifies these hidden voices and brings attention to issues often ignored. By joining our community, you help foster empathy and understanding for those living under oppressive regimes. Thank you for making this important work possible. Now let's return to the untold stories of North Korea's soldiers. For a North Korean soldier, each day is a carefully orchestrated sequence of activities, a relentless cycle of duty and discipline. It starts before dawn, in the hushed darkness of the barracks, where sleep is abruptly ended, jolted awake by the shrill sound of bugle calls or the harsh, booming voice of shouted commands. There's no easing into the day, it's immediate action. The morning begins with fervent pledges of loyalty, a daily ritualistic affirmation to the supreme leader, which is followed by hours of intense ideological study, more indoctrination than genuine education, shaping their worldview through carefully curated propaganda. Grueling drills and repetitive, exhausting tasks fill the morning hours, pushing them to their physical limits, often punctuated with harsh punishments meted out for even the most minor mistakes or perceived infractions. The pressure is constant, a heavy weight on their shoulders, as collective punishment rigorously enforces obedience and fosters an environment of mutual surveillance where trust is a rare commodity. Afternoons bring more than just military training. Often soldiers are sent to work, toiling on farms, laboring in mines, or sweating on construction sites, performing dangerous labor with little rest or respite. Their contribution to the state's economy is immense, a vital part of the nation's infrastructure, but their own basic needs are often neglected, a stark contrast to the sacrifices they make. Evenings offer no real respite. There's cleaning, tedious guard duty, and mandatory self-criticism sessions that dominate the night. These meetings force soldiers to publicly confess their faults, both real and imagined, and relentlessly criticize each other, systematically breaking down trust and any sense of individuality. By the time they finally get to sleep, they are utterly physically and emotionally exhausted, only to face the prospect of repeating the same grueling cycle the very next day. This relentless routine, day in and day out, is meticulously designed to systematically strip away any sense of personal identity and enforce absolute, unquestioning loyalty. For most of these soldiers, it's a harsh life of mere survival, a constant struggle, and not genuine service to a nation. The reality of their existence is far removed from the proud and glorified image that is carefully shown to the outside world. It's a daily struggle for basic necessities and human dignity, hidden carefully behind the regime's meticulously crafted and ever-present facade of strength and unity. Hunger is a constant companion for North Korean soldiers. Official rations are meager, just a few handfuls of corn or rice, sometimes mixed with sand to add weight. Meat is a rare luxury, reserved for officers or special occasions. Desperate for food, soldiers forage for plants or even steal from local farms, straining relations with civilians who are just as hungry. Winters are brutal, with thin uniforms and poorly heated barracks offering little protection from the cold. Frostbite and illness are common, and basic necessities like soap and medicine are scarce. Hygiene suffers, and diseases spread quickly in cramped, unsanitary conditions. Medical care is minimal, many are left to suffer or are discharged without treatment. The state's neglect is clear. Soldiers are seen as expendable, not valued. Beyond physical hardships, soldiers endure crushing psychological pressure. Conscription can last up to 10 years, with little or no contact with family, leaving many isolated and lonely. Surveillance is constant. Soldiers are forced to report on each other, creating a climate of mistrust and fear. Indoctrination is relentless, teaching that suffering is noble and the outside world is the enemy. Dissent is dangerous. Even a whispered complaint can lead to severe punishment. Mental health struggles are ignored. There's no support, only the expectation to suppress pain. Many leave the army with deep, invisible scars. The emotional toll is one of the regime's most devastating weapons. The reality of army life in North Korea is a stark contrast to the image often presented by the state. It's a world of hardship, discipline, and often unimaginable suffering. But the true stories, the unvarnished truth, is best told by those who survived it, who escaped the clutches of the regime and found the courage to speak out. Lee, a defector who spent years in the military, recalls having to resort to eating tree bark during the devastating famine that swept through the country, a period of immense suffering and loss. He recounts watching friends and comrades slowly die of starvation, their bodies unable to withstand the relentless hunger. All this, while officers, those in positions of power, hoarded food, exacerbating the already dire situation. Park, a former construction soldier conscripted into forced labor, describes years of grueling labor under the scorching sun, pushing his body to its absolute limits. He speaks of constant hunger, a gnawing emptiness that never seemed to subside, and the ever-present humiliation of the mandatory self-criticism sessions, where individuals were forced to confess their perceived shortcomings. Some, desperate for a different reality, risked everything, for even a fleeting glimpse of freedom, secretly listening to forbidden South Korean radio broadcasts, fully knowing that discovery meant certain death, or a life sentence in a brutal prison camp. Punishments were often collective and incredibly severe. Even a single escape attempt, whether successful or not, could mean days, even weeks without food, a slow and agonizing form of torture. It could also mean intensified forced labor for an entire unit, holding everyone accountable for the actions of one individual. These stories, though harrowing, reveal a brutal system that consumes its own people, valuing absolute obedience and loyalty above all else, even above the sanctity of human life. The suffering endured is not an isolated incident, a rare exception to the rule. It's the everyday norm, a grim reality for hundreds of thousands of North Koreans. Each individual testimony is a small but significant crack in the seemingly impenetrable wall of silence that surrounds North Korea. These brave voices remind us all of the immense human cost hidden behind the regime's facade of power and control. Their extraordinary courage in sharing the truth, despite the risks, is a profoundly powerful act of defiance against oppression and a testament to the enduring human spirit. As we finish, remember, these soldiers are not faceless enemies but young people trapped by circumstance. Their suffering reflects the broader pain of North Korea's people. Listening to their stories challenges us to see their humanity, not just the regime's brutality. Supporting organizations that help defectors and raise awareness can make a real difference. Every story shared chips away at the wall of silence. Let's value our freedoms and extend compassion to those who have none. Behind every uniform is a person longing for dignity and hope. Let's remember them, and work for a world where no one must endure such suffering.